Everyone, congratulations on the new film, A Knight's War.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you
you.
so much.
You know what? I love these fantasy movies, and watching A Knight's War was giving me PTSD from playing like a video game like Dark Souls again or something
Yes.
like that. So
Awesome.
let me throw the question to you, Matt. Tell us where the original idea came from for A Knight's War.
Oh, the original idea, it's so many inspirations. Like my brother and I grew up on Conan the Barbarian, and then we've been making this movie in our head for so long. I think I heard a story that talked about how in Genesis, Adam and Eve wasn't the first woman. Actually, Lilith was the first woman. And then I started diving into like stories about Lilith. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all these connecting points. But we have so many points of reference on this film, but we've been playing around with this idea for years, and it's been more so we've been so scared of it because it's so big. It's like how do you just jump into such a massive not just movie but genre? Like it's a very tall order to do a medieval fantasy. So
That is true. That is true. That's why we don't see too many of them, but and here we are.
yeah.
Jeremy, Kristen, tell us about your attraction and doing being a part of this film. And obviously, Jeremy, you're related to Matt, so obviously this is an automatic for you.
Yeah, well, that's funny because Kristen, she thinks she had a choice, but she actually didn't either. We're like, you're making this movie. And there's only so many women willing to go in minus 30, with 70-kilometer winds. So we always like to make, an optical illusion that there is a choice in this, but we coerce people into it, into our shenanigans.
Um,
Kristen,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was saying, what initially drew you to this?
Yeah, I mean, I made a film with Jeremy and Matt prior to this one called Death Valley, and I loved working with them. And then, Matt and Jeremy kind of pitched this idea, and they sent me the script, and I read the script, and I loved Avalon and her character, and so I was like, please put me in right away. I'll start whenever you want. So yeah, I was so excited to do this.
Uh, that's great. So one of the things that we don't see too many in fantasy films is the usage of full plate armor because first of all it's actually difficult to make, difficult to maneuver, and I haven't seen this much full plate armor usage since I want to say Excalibur since back in the 1980s.
Yes.
So, first of all, Matt, tell us about the decision of using that because you could have gone with any type of medieval armor for
We
the
could
comfort of your actors.
I think
Our
yeah,
first choice.
yeah. I think it goes back down to we really wanted to do everything real, practical. So there are options to do plastic armor, there's options to do foam armor, and we actually started with that, and it just looks so bad. And you spend more time trying to hide things than trying to show things. And it just got to a spot that as we did our tests, it's just like the real armor is the thing that looks the coolest. They don't do it because it's hard on the actor. They don't do it because there's like it limits you. But I'm like, but it just feels so much better to have real armor, especially after we distressed it, aged it, and gave it texture. I'm like, we have to do real armor. And Jeremy will tell a story about when he first put it on, and he just looked at me and he's just like, I don't think I can wear this because it was so. It
Yeah,
was
it's surprising. Like it just puts so much pressure on your shoulders. Like it's like almost 100 pounds of armor you're wearing, and it was cramping my back. Like I couldn't even last like barely 30 minutes the first time I put it on, standing around trying to just taking photo shoots. And I said to Matt, I'm like, I don't know if I could do a whole movie this way. And luckily, Matt didn't give an option. And we
I
had
was
some,
just like, we're doing this. And
yeah.
same thing. I said to them, like, guys, like people do wear this armor, and I started showing them competitions of like full like attack, like full contact medieval fights that are going on. And I'm like, people do it, so we just have to train. And that was the big thing is before we went into this movie, I'm like, I want to do it. I don't want to fake the cold. I don't want to fake things. I don't want to have like screens. I want to go out into the wilderness, out into the cold, and film the closest thing to a real fantasy action movie. And so yeah, Kristen and Jeremy just went into training, putting on like as much muscle as possible to carry this stuff around.
Kristen, do you have anything to add on the preparations and putting on this armor? Because obviously you were put through the grinder too.
Yeah, I think actually Matt was really excited the one day. He's like, "Oh, Kristen, your armor came in," because he had to order a bit of a smaller size for me than for Jeremy, and so he's like, "We got this custom made, blah blah blah." So I come over, he puts it on me, and it's like it's
It's
massive, and
massive.
I'm like, and then he's like, "I think this could fit me," and so anyways, another scenes like I think you were wearing it, weren't you, Matt, in part of
I actually took the original armor that was customized for Kristen and then re-customized it and modded it for my character because they just got the sizing all wrong. And then
yeah.
we had to go get new armor for her. It was keep going.
But yeah, it was, I mean, like Jeremy said, it's heavy, it's hard to move in, like we would practice our fight choreography without the armor. And then, as soon as we put the armor on and then we would move in it, we realized very quickly, there's some moves that we wouldn't be able to do, or like we just looked ridiculous because, you have limited range of motion once you have that armor on. And yeah, the training was pretty intense for it to get used to
It
it.
it was pretty funny because both Kristen and Jeremy were trying to negotiate pieces of armor. Like Kristen's like, "Do I really have to wear the chainmail?" And Jeremy's just like, "This piece, can I just lose this piece?" And like people try to leave their armor behind, and
I
I
was
go
like,
behind them, pick it up, and put it back on them. Like, no, this has to be here.
I was like, can Bodhi be naked? Is that an option?
That is hilarious. And Jeremy, Chris, as actors, how do you adapt to the difficulties of these difficult shoots, wearing the armor, the action, and also being in the midst of Canada in winter wonderland? I mean, Matt didn't pull any punches here.
No, I think the one thing, like we were hiking out to these shoots, and it's a couple kilometers just to hike in, and we're wearing all the armor. And I think one of the things is like you get out there and you hiked all the way in, and you just realize like the only way I'm getting out of this is if I walk back. And you have all these people who just hiked in with you, and you don't want to let them down. And so you're just looking at everyone, you're like, I guess I have to suck it up. Like there's no easy way out to do this movie. So we just had to like, you just became really quickly, you're like, okay, we need to suck this up. Otherwise it just like, it's not going to happen. We don't really have a choice anyways. We're out here. Like,
I think Kristen and Jeremy quit many times. They just didn't tell me. They would just go into like some igloo or go into a side of rock, and I just see them talking to themselves. And then I'm like, "You guys ready?" Like, yeah, 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 I'm good. But they were definitely silently quitting.
you
So
could see Kristen often, myself. We would just be, you see us like walking back and forth, and we're just swinging our arms, just trying to do anything we can to get the blood flow going. And like in between takes, we're like doing windmills and stuff like that. We're like, oh, and like lunchtime, we like everyone's sitting down, enjoying their lunches, and Chris and I are just pacing back and forth because the armor just gets so cold and it just chills right through you. So we just had to keep moving, and then we started strategically building fires and putting it into the movie. And that was one. That was practical and visual.
Most excellent. And then let me wrap it up one last thing. Matt, tell us about your love of doing practical in films like this.
I think, yeah, like one, you can make anything with foam. I'm so amazed what you can make with foam. So all the castles are foam sets. I still have a castle in my backyard. My neighbors think I'm crazy. But I love seeing things for real. The miniatures are real. The castles are real. There's just something about actors being able to act in the scene, being able to see the elements, and then it's what I got into movies for. I love creating a world. I love seeing the world. I love being able to feel the world. And that was really our approach for this. How real could we make it? So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, thank you very much for speaking to us about A Knight's War. And this is my second time speaking to you, Matt. I think the first time around was Psycho Gorman. That was a while back ago. So
Wow. And then I wore all the suits for this one too. So,
yeah, I noticed that. But anyway, this is quite an enjoyable film. So thank you very much
thank
for
you
all
so
of it.
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.